happy to present and welcome Caroline Myss. Welcome,
Thank you.
Caroline.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you. It's wonderful to be in such wonderful company, I have to say. And Melanie, your story is so touching. I send you grace and much more, and Godspeed on your road to recovery. And it's heartbreaking, really. So this listening to your story took me out of my subject matter. I have to reel myself back in here. I have notes on the subject of unity and peace, and I have to say, you know, when I started to make notes on that, I thought, well, where do I begin to talk about the significance of unity and peace, and how does one approach that subject? And then I thought, I recalled this incident, the very first time I went to a lecture ever in the whole of my life on this planet. I was in my late 20s, and a friend said, come with me, I want to go see this. And it was a guru. And then I didn't even know what a guru was. So I went with, and I never saw anything from Hinduism. I never saw anything like this in my life. And I see this man in his robes come in, and all these people were so respectful of him. And, and I'm standing there thinking, what is going on here? And nobody's talking. And I wanted to, what's going on? I don't understand. Who is he? Where's he from? What is this? In typical me. And then he gets on stage, and I see all of these people like have I couldn't figure it out. And after all of that, he said that someone said, how can we achieve peace? How can we achieve peace? And that was the question. And I thought, well, this ought to be good. So I tuned in, and he said, become a perfectly healthy you. Give people that. And I'm standing in the back, and I'm thinking, what? What? Did you hear what he said? We came all the way here for that. I'm out of here. And let's go. I need a cup of coffee. I got to get out of here. But I never forgot it. And at first I thought I didn't forget it because it annoyed me. But a lot of things annoy me, and I forget it. But I couldn't forget him. And as the years of my life rolled by, and I started to learn things that matter, that incident would fly back into my consciousness. And as if it was saying, you're learning another piece of the puzzle to this great truth, so that you can understand this great truth. And yet another piece of the puzzle, so that you can understand this great truth. Because you don't get it, but you have to get it. And it wasn't until I really started to look at why people don't heal, and then why don't people heal, and then how can people heal, and until my life took a journey into the nature of the soul, until I looked at the significance of now, of this time we're living in a huge cosmic way, the profound significance of what it is to be alive now, the privilege it is to be alive even in this chaos, but especially in this chaos. To understand that a biospiritual ecological theology is being born. And it is one in which the question of peace, why is peace so difficult? Why, when all these years of teaching, and I have asked people, what is it you're seeking? And they'll say, I'm seeking peace. I'd like my life to be more peaceful. Why is that so difficult? Why has that been such a hard, such a goal that is so way out there, when in fact, if we treasure love and peace so much, why are those the two things that send us into therapy? Why are those the two things that have us forever in despair? And I finally realized that the task comes down to becoming a perfectly healthy you. That peace is not a matter of an issue out there. There'll always be issues out there, always. My background is in theology and in military history, the study of war and the study of God. And I've concluded that we all go to war at some point. We go to war with ourselves, we go to war with others, that conflict is in our DNA, and that we have to resolve conflict within ourselves. We have to take ourselves on. That in order to create peace, we have to first settle why we create conflict within ourselves, within a relationship, within the relationships of those we love. Why we have to win at all costs, why we have to get that last word in, why we have to be right, why we have to, what we will risk for the sake of our ego. And at the end, if I had the time to take this all and give you a crash course on health, I would tell you that your body and your spirit, your whole bio-spiritual ecological system that is you, your microplanet, breathes together with the macro planet. And that one of the greatest health foods you can feed yourself toward peace and unity for everyone is humility, is to become a humbler person, is to decide this isn't worth a conflict. This isn't that important. I'm not that important. I'm to really humble up, to really begin to live a humble life on this earth. That is, for me, one of the true contributions to yourself, to your body, to your mind, to your inner world, of what generates health and what generates peace and what generates tranquility in yourself and in how you see the world and in how you then treat others and how you respond to others. That this is the way in which we begin to generate an atmosphere of peace and tranquility around us, is by beginning to live in a more humble frame of mind that says, and to not fear being humiliated by following our soul's guidance. Both are true.
Unity.
We cannot fear what heaven is telling us, and we cannot humiliate others as a way of controlling our world. Those two, if I can give you two jewels to contribute to the peacefulness of your own life, and therefore it spreads. Peace is addictive. That if you truly began to live with this idea of help me, talk to me, give me my guidance, and if you were not afraid that that the divine world was going to humiliate you in some way or take your belongings or whatever, that guidance would allow you to, excuse me, have what it takes to empower others, to empower those around you instead of fear their power. These are the ingredients that make peace. These are the ingredients that create the peacefulness that we're seeking. When I think of where conflict comes in people, for the thousands and thousands of readings that I've done in my years as a medical intuitive, I used to look at, for the causes when I do a reading, and I would look at, what happened to you, where was the source of the stress, what was your belief system. But through the years, my understanding of how it is we contributed to the breakdown of our own tranquility, to the breakdown of our own balance inside of ourselves, ultimately came down to the fear we had of being humiliated in the world around us. And that our fear of failing, our fear of trying, our fear of putting ourselves out there, and the consequential rage that we felt toward ourselves for allowing that fear to have authority in us, then had to express itself. And that's how we end up creating conflict within ourselves and within our relationships. So from my point of view, because we can't afford to think that in order for us to have peace and unity in the world, it has to be tied to issues in the street, and it has to be tied to some political thing. It has to be something that we create with every breath we take, with every relationship we have, with the way we think within ourselves, with how we see the world. Peace and unity is an inner way of, it's an inner theology. And the more humble you are, the more you are able to see the beauty and the power in other people, the more you are able to not be threatened by the talents of other people, the more you can say a prayer like, God, give me the means in myself to help empower this other person, instead of being threatened by them. When I was writing which one of my books? I can't remember. I think it was Invisible Acts of Power. I looked up the word humility, and it's defined as poverty, to be poor. Humble is poor. And that's not what it means at all. It means that you have so much empowerment in yourself that in Buddha language, you get that the outside world is an illusion, that there's nothing out there that commands you. That in fact, you are so empowered in a holy way, in a truly holy way, that there's nothing outside of yourself that you are seeking. And therefore, because you have that you can look at everybody through eyes that bless them instead of through fear. So as I leave you, let me say that conflict comes from the fear that somebody has something you think you want, or that they're going to take something. And the moment you have that is the moment I'm asking you to take a deep, deep breath and say to yourself, is this conflict worth my power? Am I seeing this clearly? And is there a way that in your heart you can say the prayer, download me with some badass grace. I need it right now. I need it so fast so that I do not lose my power, so that I do not lose my center. You know, see, this is what happens. I start and I can barely stop. So I have to stop myself now, but I want to just thank you all, and bless you all, and stay healthy, and thank you.
Caroline, thank you so much. You know, when you talk about grace, praying for grace, one of my favorite teachers was Paramahansa Yogananda. And one of his teachings was the greatest prayer and the simplest prayer is just maximum grace. Whomever, whether it's a person or the world, whoever we're praying for, maximum grace. Because we never know what's best. We don't know what's in the highest. We just think we know. So just maximum grace, maximum grace. And I was reminded of that with what you just shared.
Totally. My prayer book is out this month. I released my journal on prayers, my own prayer journal. So I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but it's available now.
Is it? I just pulled up your website. Is it? Can we find it on the website?
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Intimate Conversations with the Divine.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. And
Yeah.
so everybody, it's a very easy website to remember, myss.com, myss.com. And that's where you can get her new book, Intimate Conversations with the Divine. And she's got live workshops, on-demand workshops, free media, sacred contracts, and your archetypes. That looks interesting. Wow.
Look at you scrolling down my...
I am. I'm getting excited here with everything you got going on. So
I'm doing here on October 1st, I'm doing a free online workshop on prayer, and on my it's free. It's for everybody. And they could just, on spiritual direction, and so they're interested. It's October 1st.
Okay, I'm pulling that up right now. So again, on October 1st, and if you go to myss.com, that's where you can find out all about this. And here's her book. And then this is also where you can get the information. And she's beloved by so many. Marianne, Lawrence Freeman, Anne Lamott. Wow. Caroline, I'm so grateful for you taking the time to be on our show. Every time you come on, you just bring so much wisdom and practical tools and your own personal humility. I just want to acknowledge your own personal humility.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.